Yeah, Close the doors, walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our repertoire. Fed up with the same news, no channel to use. Cruise control mentalities, here we offer you. We gon' show you a new way. The content it never strays from positive and uplifting. Once a week the scope gifted with the presence of your eyes. What a distraction, beautiful to soul, especially in action. This year not ration, came in abundance. Films like in Sundance, tech like the pop art. Tachi Queen, you are Curtis a beast heart. You must carry, cause MCs they all vary and seldom do what they motivate. World full of hate, we serve the hope on a plate across different platforms. Let's hear a buffet, hydration like Boucher. Don't focus on a day, we always here for you. MediaScope when you emotionally broke. Settled in our knowledge and conversations, gon' make them yours. What we run is Olympic, not your hands on the torch. Take it easy like Sundays on the porch. MediaScope when you emotionally broke. Settled in our knowledge and conversations, gon' make them yours. What we run is Olympic, not your hands on the torch. Take it easy like Sundays on the porch. Now you award winner with no award tours. This culture meets the art. Podcast with the heart.
Unmute.
I did unmute. It just didn't unmute when I unmuted it. I don't know. Today is a tech hell day. But that's okay. Technic hell. That's what it is. Yeah, technic hell. Technic hell. There we go. Welcome to another week of all things media, tech, and pop culture. This is MediaScope. It happens every week here on all these platforms that we'll talk about. 6 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m.-ish Eastern time. Today, of course, we're way past that because we had tech difficulties. So thank you for hanging on. If you don't know who I am, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Tachi, media professor, filmmaker, media content producer, also a journalist. You guys are here. There's quite a few of you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Dr. Tawana Ross is here, as is D. Carpio. I forgot to get some water, MC.
Well, hold on. I'll bring you some. Hold on.
Can you at least give me the ice sound? Never mind. No, I don't.
Do you even like ice?
Not really.
Yeah, I didn't think
Not
that
really.
you did for some reason.
I mean, not that I don't like ice, but I don't like things ice cold. Like ice cold is not the best for you anyway.
Right.
So it is what it is. But you know what? Do me a favor. Put up the show card for a minute so that I can get some water because I don't leave the frame with nothing up.
Absolutely.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, Close the doors, walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our rep.
I'm back. I've got it. So I apologize for not having it, but I just noticed my throat is dry and it's not going to bode well for you all if I keep going without it. So, as I was saying, it's not just you all.
It's a dry throat.
It's this clown behind the scenes called MC Curtis. What's up, MC?
Hey, what's up?
Or Clarabelle, should I say. Homie the clown.
How are you?
Fine. And look who's here. She's got water for me, and I wish I had seen it before I actually went because the Queen of Food Truckery and the Minister of Libation, Sarita Wills, is here. All right. Yes. Okay. Great. I'm glad that just the honking is there and not the whatever.
Well, she's already here, so you can recognize her.
No, what if I didn't know? We don't just let anybody screech onto the set. I have to know it's her. And Terry Johnson has an emoji for you, or 3 emojis for you.
What?
Can you tell what they are?
No, I don't even recognize what those are.
Clown emoji.
Oh, really, Terry?
Really, MC? They're on my side. They are on my side.
All right, Terry, you're on my list now.
Oh boy, let's all shake in our boots because we don't want to be on MC's list. So Terry says, "Is that the British way, like warm beer?" Now, I'm not a beer drinker. I don't really like beer, but
do.
I like I like room temperature. I guess you would call that tepid, rather than ice. Now, if there's ice in something, like I've gone to a restaurant or something, that's fine. But usually I will ask for it without ice. So, hey, MC, are you listening? Are you wearing headphones?
I am.
I don't know why I hear a little bit of feedback. It's probably just the interwebs. And MC Curtis, I mean, Dr. Tawada also has something to say about MC Curtis. And she enjoys the clownery, apparently. Or at least the fact that I called you a clown. Okay, D Carpio is here. She'll be right back. How are you, D? And she said it's all love. No, Terry, you don't have to explain to him. You heard words and you just put emojis on the screen. That's all.
You're already on the list, Terry. So.
And Terry says, yes, there is a little echo.
Okay, let me take a.
So you may want to turn down your sound a little bit. Yeah, I don't hear myself anymore. So maybe it was just cycling through. There's a.
So are you still hearing your echo?
Let me hear. No.
Are you? Okay.
I'm not hearing it anymore. So you all let us know if you still hear an echo. Yolanda Lattimore is here too. She also says, good evening. Good evening, Yolanda, all the way from the ATL. Thank you so much for being here. Rich Quota Mine, my good friend, is here. And he says, ooh, tacos. That's right. It is Taco Wednesday. Never here on Tuesdays, but we are usually here on Wednesdays. So go ahead and grab yourself a taco or burrito. So come by and get that. And there's some wonderful libations, which is customary for the MediaScope food truck. Where else can you go? What other show can you go to? And there's an actual food truck. Let me know.
Nowhere else.
Wabiri is here and accounted for. She says present. What were you saying, MC?
I was saying nowhere else can you go get.
Nowhere. Nowhere.
Nowhere.
Nowhere else can you go and get a virtual food truck. And don't try and copy our ideas either.
Copycatter.
Yeah. Lost my flip-flop. You know when you're shuffling your feet around?
I know. I hate that when it happens.
And then it's like, I'm like, so now I have one. I'm not going to, I refuse to stay through the whole show with one flip-flop on. I'm not.
I hate when that happens.
I hate it. I hate it. Then I'm like, oh, So let me tell you all something. A little tip for you all: don't shuffle your feet that much if you can avoid it. But here's the thing: I am really an advocate of getting fully dressed. I don't like when people just do the top because they're like, oh, they're only going to see the top until you get up because something fell, and now we see shorts with a suit, jacket, and tie, or we see sweatpants with a blouse. That's not what we want, like a Balenciaga blouse. No, that's not what we want. Get fully dressed. The only thing is I can excuse footwear. You could wear flip-flops, house slippers all day long because chances are, unless you walk back, nobody is going to see that anyway. So that's okay. But get fully dressed anyway. That's for those of you going live, that's one to grow on. So footwear is excused, but you must be fully dressed. Because that's how all these people got caught out there. And it's like, oh, I'll just do the bottom. Why? I don't feel right unless I'm fully dressed. I've never done the let me just do the top and then, wear any kind of bottom type thing. I will do this though. If I'm batch recording, I'll wear something like black pants and maybe I will switch out the tops. I'll do that, but they're not going to be black sweatpants. They're going to be proper or a skirt, it will be a proper pants or skirt. It gives you a different behavior as well. You act differently when you're dressed fully, right?
I agree with you.
I think you act differently. There's a tendency to sit anyhow, behave anyhow when you have anything on. When you're dressed up, there's the mindset that I'm here to conduct business. Let me conduct myself accordingly. And yes, you can still conduct business in Crocs as long as most of you is dressed. All right. Richard quote of mine says that cheesesteaks are basically tacos with different bread. I don't make mine with Cheese Whiz. That's good to know because Cheese Whiz is the equivalent of a Velveeta.
Is that the same thing?
What? It's what the same thing?
Cheese Whiz and Velveeta.
No, it's all processed cheese, but Cheese Whiz is cheese that comes in a can. Ugh. I already know you don't like cheese, so that's there's this whole thing now that they may start requiring people to be 21 to buy in certain places to buy. I still hear an echo, so I don't know what that is. Whiz is gross, right, Rich? They may require people in certain areas. I just read this today to be 21 to buy whipped cream, the canned whipped cream, because it has a propellant in there that can be concentrated and acts as is it a hallucinogenic? Something to that effect, but it acts like a drug basically. So they're looking at requiring for people to be 21 to buy whipped cream in a can.
That's interesting. Wow.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting.
So did all of this just started happening, or it's been happening, or they?
I read this just today, but no, that's been since the 70s that people have been doing wrong things with, household things. That's been since the 70s. This is not new. So to me, let me just say this. Outlawing or requiring something is not going to stop it from happening. Remember, if you in certain places, spray paint is inside a locked cage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they did that to cut down on graffiti. Did the graffiti disappear after they did that? No. So I'm not saying it did not help in the fight against graffiti, but the point is that you could get any art student, somebody to go and buy it for you and then do what you want with it. I'm not saying it's not a deterrent, but it doesn't solve it. So the fact that you're now carding people to buy whipped cream is not going to solve the problem. And there are a lot of small grocery store like bodega owners that have a little bit of an issue with that, because it cuts into their bottom line. Although I don't know how many people are actually buying whipped cream from bodegas.
Right.
Hey there, DS is here from the YouTube, says came bearing gifts. He's got ice cream because it certainly is a hot one here today. So go ahead and please indulge in some ice cream. Thank you, DS, for being here and for that. All right, let's get into it. Could I please have the intro for the media section, please? And then photo one. I suspect that that played and I was sitting there for a while. So anyway, it played, right?
It did play.
It did play. I caught the tail end of it. So anyway, but by the way, guys, again, apologize for any echoes. We don't know what's going on today, but there is a slight echo.
Find out
what happened.
Yeah, I'm still looking as you are talking, but just trying to find out where it's coming from. Not sure.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll work it out. It comes and goes. Like I just heard it now, and then I didn't hear it again. I don't know what that is.
Are you hearing it from me, or is it just kind of hearing yourself?
I'm hearing my echo.
You're hearing your. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is. I've like lowered my sound, but I still need to be able to hear you. So
Right, right. Understandable. Yeah.
um, I don't know, but it is what it is, folks. Let's get into it. Poor, poor Regal Cinemas. Regal has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, or is it Cineplex? Yeah, Cineplex, which is the parent company of Regal, has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. But who's surprised? MC, are you surprised?
Not at all. I'm sure. I'm not sure why it didn't come earlier because all this moving around and adjusting and doing this and weren't they the same company that was renting out the theater as well?
AMC. I don't know if Regal was doing it, but AMC definitely was renting it out. So yeah, I am not surprised because they've been going through and here's the thing, and I said this on IG, people are refusing to switch. They are refusing to pivot to something else. Now, I'm not saying pivot to doing something else. That's not what I mean. What I mean is adding other things into your portfolio that are also going to yield some income. Why is it that people can have multiple streams of income, but companies feel like we've done this for 75 years and this is what we're going to continue to do for the next 100?
Yeah, they may also need to switch too to do something else.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Maybe you just really do need to do something else. Maybe you just, my friend, need to just switch to something else because whatever this is not working for you.
Right, right.
So anyway, yes, they have filed for Chapter 11 in a court, a federal court in Texas. It's a UK company. Generally, when people file for bankruptcy, it's not because they're going to close. It's because they've got a lot of debt that they're trying to get out from under, and they want to move past that. So in bankruptcy court, there are certain things that kind of get thrown out, if you will, and so that they can move past it. But my friends, you won't move past it very far unless and let's use that now, unless and you have another plan. I don't know what the plan is. DS says shout out to MC, by the way.
I appreciate
And
that.
Terry Johnson is not surprised at all. I mean, we talk about this all the time. And I hate to be the doomsday or the doomsayer of the media industry all the time, but I have to call out what I see. And long ago, they should have included streaming as part of their strategy. And they refused. They were fighting streaming instead of including it. They fought all of them. AMC, Cineplex, which is Regal, also Cinemark, they all fought streaming because they thought it was a competition. Where if they had really looked, this would have been a tandem product. By now, they should have been a Netflix.
Well, you know what? I think when times like this with companies like Regal and AMC and just the host of other companies, I think that's when you need a person at the helm who's like a survivor, who's a hustler, who knows how to get things done. Because oftentimes when people have been in these different organizations as CEOs, they you I don't know. Sometimes I think you can kind of forget your hustle, forget the things that you need to do to kind of stay afloat, if you will, or just and they're probably such a horrible term, but it is what it is.
Oh, wow. Sorry. So we don't. Dia says this. I hope we don't see a blockbuster situation where we have no more theaters with all the online stuff and movies coming out in just weeks to weeks. So, DS, it seems like you are a proponent of theaters staying open, of the theater culture. Look, and I'm a filmmaker. I love theater culture. There's nothing more, and I've said this over and over, there is nothing more than I like better than to be in a dark theater with popcorn and a blanket, because it's always cold in there, watching a great film. Well, they didn't take it seriously when there was a pandemic. I have to say they weren't really taking it seriously. They thought it would all blow over in a couple of weeks and it would be business as usual. Even during the pandemic, they all thought it would be business as usual. And it's not just them, but they thought it would be business as usual. Now they're wanting to go back to business as usual. Business as usual cannot be your strategy.
Yeah, this is over with. This is a wrap right here. It's never going to go back to usual.
So here's the thing. Cineworld, again, which is a parent company of Regal Cinemas, is hoping to emerge from bankruptcy in the first quarter of 2023 after completing a, quote, real estate optimization strategy to fetch more favorable lease terms. So they're not owning their theaters in most cases. Most of them are leases. So they're looking to shed debt and emerge as a more sustainable entity. They secured $1.9 billion in bankruptcy loans, which is known as debtor in possession financing, to support their restructuring plan. I hope that restructuring plan includes something else. I don't know about streaming. What do you guys think about that? I think not that they couldn't, but I think that now there are so many entities in the streaming game that it would be really difficult for them to, if they were going to do this, they should have done it back then. They should have been done this. But
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying I completely agree with you, Tachi. I think it was not it was unfortunate, a missed opportunity. But yeah, I completely agree with you. That's a great assessment. Yeah.
Is this the end? My only friend, the end. And I keep hearing that echo. I apologize, guys, because I'm sure you can hear this echo too.
Yeah, I don't hear the echo on my end, but it's coming from
I hear it, and
You're
I
hearing
think
it
the
in the
audience hears it as well.
the audience. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not
So,
sure.
yeah, I don't know where it's coming from, but never mind that. Look who's here. David Benjamin Eccles is here and says, yeah, I sound a little echoey. He's hearing a little bit of echo. Yeah, I really don't know what's happening. We could do this. Put up the show card. I'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see if I go out and come back in, if that clears up the echo. I'll be right back. I'm back. And that goes still there. So it's not too bad, but it's weird. It could just be a tech thing today with a platform. It could be a number of things. So I apologize. Okay, and Serena Wills is back too. So we've got both the Assistant Queen of Food Truckery and the Queen of Food Truckery, Minister of Libation here. Welcome back, folks. If you're just here, welcome to the fold, or just coming in, welcome to the fold. My name is Tachi, media professor, filmmaker, media content producer, also a journalist. This is MediaScope. We are here every week, 6 p.m.-ish Eastern time. And guess what? Let's greet everybody that is here today. We have got all these wonderful people that are listening and watching on Facebook. Hello, Facebook. There's a bunch of you that are listening and watching on which one? YouTube. That's it. On YouTube as well. What's going on, Facebook? Thank you for being here. Today, we are on LinkedIn. I don't know if anybody even got a notification. Did you, MC?
Let me see. I wasn't looking at my phone. I was trying to.
Terry says it's a little better.
No, I did not.
No, you did not. Thank you, LinkedIn. So perhaps nobody is watching on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you're not going to give me an ulcer. I refuse. But if you happen to be watching on LinkedIn of the Inn, hello. And for those of you that are going to be watching or listening rather tomorrow in Nassau, Bahamas, and the rest of the Caribbean on Gospel 107.1 FM, we wish you a multitude of many blessings. He knew to have that sound on time.
Yes, I need a covering. Yes, indeed.
Well, hopefully you'll be the fingers on the button every week with that one, scrambling to get that on time.
I could have been on the other side of town, not missed that mark.
You could have been in Belarus and you would have made it your business to make sure your finger was on the button. So
Absolutely.
Serena says she got a notification on LinkedIn. Serena, can you let us stew in our hatred of LinkedIn and not add to that? You gotta just let us not get a notification, okay? Let us not have one. Don't help them, but we appreciate you nonetheless.
Yeah, I didn't get one. It would show notifications.
And I didn't get one either because I would have gotten one on my phone, but I didn't get one. Perhaps we're chopped liver, the people who actually produce the show. But that's notwithstanding. It doesn't matter whether or not we get it. It matters whether other people get it.
Doesn't Serena work for LinkedIn?
I think Serena has LinkedIn stock. That's it. Of course, if you have stock at Microsoft, of course you're going to get notifications.
Stockholders notification.
That's right. Only stockholders get notifications. The rest of us are chopped liver. So I'm glad it's sounding a little better. Good. Let's see. All right. DS, he is the king of questions, and I love it. DS has this question. He says he's curious as to what social media outlets do I not see being around in the next 5 to 10 years. I love this question. So you know what I'm going to do? I also want to ask you all out there in the audience, because I know there are a lot of you that are social media managers, strategists, etc. Terry being one. So Terry, I'm really interested to know what you think, but let's turn it over to MC. MC, what platform do you think is going to be gone in the next 5 to 10 years?
Wow, that's a great question.
It's a doozy of a question.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Maybe Facebook. I'm tossing. Yeah, I'm taking a stand on that one. Yeah, maybe Facebook.
Maybe Facebook. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think that it's going to have lived its glory days, and it's going to be it's probably still going to exist, but just barely.
Its glory days are gone. Let's put that out there
for sure.
In a basket with a ribbon.
Yeah.
The glory days of Facebook are gone. They can't quite seem to grasp exactly what their assignment is. They don't understand the assignment, because they keep trying to do everybody else's homework. Eyes on your own paper. So Dr. Tawana says this: I need LinkedIn to still be around because she's a LinkedIn coach. Okay, well, this is an interesting thing. So if tomorrow LinkedIn ceased to exist, what would you do then? I need to know. And I'm sure you have a plan, but I'm just interested to know. And that's with anybody. If any of the things where you are, if TikTok, let's say they pivoted, or let's say that something came out where there was a huge privacy thing and they were going to outlaw TikTok, and you have 2 million followers or 2 million friends, whatever you want to call them, on TikTok, what would you do then? Carlos Phoenix is here. Carlos, did you just have a birthday recently? I think you did, and I need to wish you happy birthday. Do we have a happy birthday song?
We sure do.
Oh, okay. I'm waiting. Here we go. Oh, the cheering Africans. I thought it was going to actually be a song, but it's the cheering Africans. But the cheering Africans are great. So the cheering Africans, for you, happy birthday. Absolutely. David Benjamin Echoes is so nice. He says, my God, I pray that LinkedIn never leaves Amen. Absolutely, absolutely. We want that, but sometimes we ask for things and God laughs. So let's let's talk about contingency plan. For those of you that are doing things, what would you do? Most of us don't want these things to leave. Let's see what else have people say. Sarita does have stock in LinkedIn. I'm convinced. Okay, so here I go with me.
So, are you about to answer the question?
I am about to answer the question,
Okay.
sir. Thank you. I'm being thoughtful about it before I open my mouth. And I'm not necessarily make a prediction. Carlos, what we're talking about is DS has asked us what platforms do we see, social media platforms do we see going away in the next 5 to 10 years? Just won't will cease to exist. I hate to say it. I don't. I almost don't want to put it out there because when you put certain things out there, it then becomes like you don't want to jinx. But there are some new platforms that have cropped up,
Mhm.
and I really don't want to name names. There's one in particular, and I really don't want to name names because I do want it to succeed, but I honestly don't see it being around in 5 years. I could be wrong. It's a platform that is basically think of Clubhouse together um, with Instagram Live because you could go live together with it. Just think about the best aspects of several different. You could do shorts and things like that, stories. So think about the best aspects of several different platforms, and that's what this platform is. And it's great. They have a lot of. They were able to raise a lot of
How about you just
funding in Series A. What happened?
How about you just give us the name and make it easy for us?
I really don't want to give the name because I want it to succeed. I don't want to give the name because I don't want to see because you open your mouth. Now we don't exist. If anybody wants to know, DM me. I will tell you what the platform is. But I was on the platform. It was not for me. First of all, the audience that is there is too unlike me. It is, and I don't like to be someplace just because I'm trying to support. It's a waste of my time. And
Hmm.
trying to support something of somebody I don't even know. It's a waste of my time. And I found like I was wasting time when I was over there. Was not for me at all. And every platform doesn't have to be for everybody. That's okay. But because of the nature of what this was, I really wanted to support. Was not for me at all. And they spend too much time talking about they are the not Clubhouse, how they are the not Facebook. Well, then what are you? Because you spend so much time convincing us that you're not all these other things. I have no clue what you are. I don't know. Also think stereo as well. Oh, are you hearing the echo? Anyway, I'm sorry. I will not put somebody in the chat got it, but it will not come out of my mouth.
Okay, let me look at the chat.
Can you do what you're supposed to do instead of trying to figure out what I'm talking about? Nosy.
Okay, no, you know what? I'm not even gonna look at the chat. I think I already know what it. Does it start with the letter F?
Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I'm not going to put it out there because it will not be said that I was the one. Again, if you want to know, look at the chat because it's in there, or you can DM me, I will tell you. But I don't want to put out
Let's
there
see.
that it is. But I honestly do not see it around. Hey, D Carpio, how are you? Thank you for being here.
Does it?
Carlos
Oh,
said Clubhouse will go away.
interesting. Wow, that's a good. That's a good one.
I can see that happening. I can see that happening. And here's the thing with these social platforms, it's not that these platforms are not good. It's
Hmm.
that a lot of these platforms are developed by tech people and
Right.
business people who don't understand the psychology of the audience.
Hmm.
So you are doing what you want and what two people told you, would be great.
That's what I thought too. Yep, that's exactly what I.
Did you find
Yep,
the
sure did.
platform is,
Yep. And
ladies and
my
gentlemen, I love how our
first guest.
tech team, headed by MC Curtis, is so concerned about this. Never mind, the broadcast could be falling apart, but he needs to find which one it was. I didn't want it to come out of my mouth, but I don't see it being around. Here's the thing, they also have to be financially advantageous. Apps can hemorrhage money. You know, in the development process, there are people that spend hundreds of thousands to develop the app, and this is before they even launch. And then you haven't even used any of the money for marketing to get people to know it's there. Yeah, you get a few influencers to, but let me tell you, influencers are not loyal all the time. If there's
Right.
nothing going on your app, they're going to leave. And how long can you continue to pay influencers to use your app and to talk about the good news of app X? That's hemorrhaging money. So you have to have a better strategy than that. So I think part of the downfall is not that the apps are not good. I think that the downfall is they spend too much defining themselves in terms of who they're not and how they're so much better than. And we're different because you should know how you're different. But in the words of Kendrick Lamar, sit down, be humble.
Well, okay, I get a question though, or more
Yeah.
so a statement. Can any app developer or company that's out there developing apps, is it really possible to really keep up with a audience that's ever changing? Be it a influencer who's just kind of I don't feel like doing a broadcast, or just kind of just show up when they want to show up, or just kind of, I mean, is it possible to really keep up with your audience and know their trends and just be there, always be there on the spot to?
No, it's never possible to always be on point and 100% know what it's. I don't want to say impossible, but it's very difficult. But
Sure,
you
sure.
don't have a choice if you want to have longevity. You have to be able to predict the trends. If you make a mistake, quickly pick yourself back up and figure out what the next move is. This is why we've said, how many, Curtis, tell me how many apps we've been through. Let's just talk about MediaScope. So at this point, Facebook is the OG app.
Yeah.
How many other apps have we been through that have closed that MediaScope has been on?
Jeez.
A few, right?
Yeah, several. This is several. Yeah, absolutely.
And they all started with good intentions in mind.
Right.
It's more than tech. It's more than business.
Absolutely.
It's also about it's a humans use these apps. You've got to understand the psychology of the human mind. You've got to understand behavioral patterns when it comes to using media, when it comes to using tech. You can't just ask two people and say, oh, okay, well, Charlie and Angela said, and I don't know who they are, but Charlie and Angela said, well, let's add an African name in there. Charlie, Angela, Uche, and Kofi said that they want this, so therefore it's important. You can't, and tastes change all the time.
Absolutely.
Taste makers change all the time. It's darn near impossible. Diaz has another question, but let's see. Exactly. Carlos Phoenix made this point. Snapchat just fired a ton of people. Yeah, absolutely. And I remember I was reading about how he said basically like let's show the haters, and they were like, look, you just fired 400 people. What? Why?
400.
Don't be trying to get. If I'm not mistaken, it was that they let go of about 400 people.
Wow.
That's what I remember reading. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 400. Don't be trying to, get morale up when 400 of us are gone.
Right. For the rest of us that's left.
Exactly. We're just waiting and seeing when. I hope you got resumes out there, people.
Right.
Don't bide your time away at that. I'm telling you. So Terry Johnson says this: Clubhouse's main downloads is from non-U.S. countries, and that's not a good sign. And not that it's not U.S. countries that's not the bad sign, but the sign is that in the country where it originated, where it was doing the best, they have reached not only saturation point, but they've lost people. They've lost a bunch of people. They had the recipe, but here's the problem. The recipe was fueled by notable people being on there, having conversations that regular people wanted to be in on. The conversations were fueled by also, how many times did you hear, oh, you can make so much money. I made all this money on Clubhouse. I was always like, yeah, okay.
Right.
Not that you can't. There are people who have gotten business via Clubhouse, but they were touting it as the new LinkedIn. I'm just telling you. They were touting it as people. I made so much money. You've got to get on. You've got, okay.
Yeah. I don't
And
think
now
anyone,
look at you.
I don't think anyone really has a real monetization model for really any of these platforms, because people are so picky. Other than a podcast, maybe being done by a celebrity or something like that, who, or some kind of, motivational speaker or something like that.
Yeah. And at the beginning, there were a lot of celebrities that were on Clubhouse, and they left, and so other people left. But see, that's the thing: when you hinge everything on these notables, who, and I don't want to get too into this, but there were a whole bunch of. Let's talk about, for example, Gwyneth Paltrow. She was all into the NFT space just a minute ago. She barely says anything. In fact, she doesn't tweet about NFTs at all. Her NFT project, World of Women, at first it was everything World of Women this, World of Women that. Her profile picture on Twitter was World of Women. Took that down, doesn't say anything about it. So the thing is, you got a bunch of people that don't understand the space getting in it, and then once they're done with it and say nothing, you think it's a fad. No, they never knew the truth of how this worked anyway. Right. So I'll say the same thing with social media. You don't know how it works anyway. You're using it because you need that to get notoriety for next project or whatever, because this has now become a requirement. Please don't get me on a soapbox.
Well, this is also interesting because I think that's the reason why you have so much of the AI and the different robots or bots, because it is, like you said earlier, it's a lot of tech people trying to get involved with the with trending applications or just trending movements. It's so many tech people get involved with this, and so that those robots or AI and just different things of that matter, they just have this touch that leaves out, like you said, the psychology of just having a real relationship with people, making that real relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. So we have a flip side of this. Our question meister. That's your name now, DS. DS, the question meister. He asks, on the flip side, what media entity do you see being huge that is not now in the next 5 to 10 years? I love that.
Yeah, great question.
I think I would have to think for a minute. I'll ask this to you all. Is there anything you see that's kind of fledgling now that you think is going to be the next big thing in the next 5 to 10 years? I have to think. Let me think on that one for a moment.
Yeah, that's a great
I'll come
question.
back to it. Yeah.
Nice flip.
It is a really good flip. Like Cirque du Soleil flip.
Right.
I think, here's the thing. I think that I'm so in the moment of living in some of these things that I sometimes don't think about it.
Right.
So I need to think about that. But I love that query. I'm going to think about it. But in the meantime, any of you can answer this. I would love to know from you what you think the next big media or social media thing is going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. Carlos Phoenix, I know you probably have something to say about that. I do have some, not for this, but for the other one. Because it's so dependent, let's just say in general, a lot of social media is dependent upon a captive audience, which is why during the pandemic, you had an all-time height in use of social media and live streaming and things like that. I think, and social audio. I think what's going to start to happen is, I don't want to say fraud will be discovered, because I'm not saying people are frauds, not at all. But I think that the people who really don't do things like live streaming and social audio or audio on a regular basis and just decide, oh, well, here's an opportunity, I'll do it, which I love, but they don't take the time to perfect the craft or take it seriously. The people who watch you during the pandemic because they had nothing else to do now have something else to do. Days outside. So if people, let me put this as an if people don't start preparing for their craft by training in terms of presentation and speaking, by up leveling their equipment, by taking their audience seriously enough for this and getting on a schedule, I think it will be those of us who really know how to do it left. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's really good.
So, yeah, I don't know if that's really an answer to the question, but in terms of that. But there could be, I see an explosion as the technology gets better and better, an explosion of shows, which is already starting to happen, that will compete with linear. So linear will never completely go away, but because they refuse to change, they're going to have to deal with the Netflixes, which are the grassroots people. Just saying. All right, here we go. It's 7:06. Now, granted, I know we started late, so we're only 45 minutes into it. So I'm going to keep going to the full hour. Hopefully that's okay with everyone. So if not, I'm still doing it anyway. Could I have photo 2, please? Yes, Periscope did meet their end. So Carlos Phoenix, yes, Real Player, Apple QuickTime Streaming. Oh, wow. Excellent. Remember Apple QuickTime Streaming? And remember Real Player?
Yep.
Where are they now? Right. Periscope. So streaming is a very particular skill. It's not, I shouldn't just say anybody can post something. Anybody can post something. Is it going to be good and get engagement? Not necessarily, but anybody can post something, but it takes real planning to sit up there and actually stream or put together audio. So that requires real skill. And people who are either not serious about it or in it because they think they're going to make $1 million by next week, they quickly get out of the game. All you had to do is look at how many people got out of the game of Periscope at the beginning. I didn't make 2 million in my first week telling people how to become an expert on Periscope, even though it just started. So I'm quitting. There was so much of that. I'm like, you people. Anyway. Oh, you know who I missed? Our good friend Serena Lowe. Serena, how are you? Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a while. We've got both Serenas in here today. Yay, Serena Lowe and Serena Wills. Welcome. All right. Okay. Carlos Phoenix has this. He says Amazon will be the next social media app monetization. So that is very interesting. Amazon is doing things like letting you post stories and things like that. Right now, they're very entry level into the live streaming game. I don't stream on Amazon near as much as I should. In fact, let me put this out there. I will this week do an Amazon Live. I haven't done one. It's been a little while. What was the last holiday? Not this one that just passed. There was another one before that.
Christ's birthday.
Whose birthday?
Christ. Jesus
Christmas?
Christ. Yeah, Jesus Christ's birthday.
No, I've done one since then. It was Amazon Prime Day. That wasn't really a holiday, but I did one for Prime Day, which was in July. So I did one in July, but I need to do some more. So Anyway, all right. So let's keep going. Could I? Oh, I've got photo two. Let's talk about Netflix. Oh, poor Netflix. I have a bunch of Netflix stories. There's a bunch of stuff that's up. So let's see if I can look at this. So Netflix is Netflix. They are in flux. So Netflix is looking to control their costs across the board. You know, they're doing all sorts of things. I keep saying they're not putting any more money right now into originals. They've come up with a streaming package or a ad-supported streaming tier, which is going to be between $7 and $9. So if you're looking for that, that's going to be the price, between $7 and $9. However, we don't know that all the programming that is included in the others will be included in this, which is like, then why am I paying you for this? And I
Right.
have to watch ads.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here's another thing they're looking to do, and this would be of interest to you, MC. They are looking to control cloud computing costs by using AWS, which is Amazon Web
Yeah.
Services.
Very interesting.
Very interesting indeed. So cloud costs are rising. And look, it's not free. When you think all that stuff is in the cloud, that's really a server somewhere in Oregon.
Yeah.
That is somebody's, a whole bunch of servers put together. We act like it's really in the cloud. It's not. It's on a hard drive somewhere. It's on somebody's cloud somewhere, server somewhere in Oregon or Washington, in the side of a barn, air conditioned.
So that's interesting. So they're running their own cloud space for, or Netflix is running their own cloud space.
Apparently so.
Very interesting.
But that gets to be very expensive. So if you
Yeah.
think about it, think about all the properties that Netflix has. They're a video on demand platform, right? But they have all these movies and all these shows. So this is the thing. When we see these lists, we see them all the time of, this is what's leaving Netflix. You think they're leaving just to be leaving? No, we need server space.
Interesting.
We need space for new stuff to come in. And if there's something there that a lot of people are not watching, let's take it off. Because server space can become very expensive. So I'm suspecting that they had their own servers and now they're looking to cut costs by using Amazon Web Services. So they're also hiring more junior staff, paring back their real estate footprint, and they're reducing the number of copies of data and content that they store around the world, according to the Wall Street Journal and Reuters.
Wow.
People are really suffering. Oh, people are suffering. So one thing that they're also trying to do to recoup, in addition to using Amazon Web Services for cloud storage space, is to grow their subscriber base to as many as 500 million customers globally in the next 3 years. So that's their goal. That's their projection. So they have lost almost 1 million subscribers, 970,000 subscribers from April to June.
So now, with that being said, do you think that
Yes.
is the result of people just, or the pandemic letting up, if you will, or so to speak? People are going outside now, or different restrictions have been not as strict as they once were. You think a lot of that is much like we were talking about a while ago, how with Disney had acquired all these new subscribers, they started their channel, and they were on target for millions.
Yeah. Those are licensing deals. So when you have all this content those are licensing deals. And now that, for example, now that there's a Disney Plus, everybody just kind of let their licensing deals expire. And thank you very much. We'll take our stuff back.
Gotcha.
You've had my lawnmower for the past 10 years. I want it back. You know how
Right.
back in the day, they always said neighbors borrow stuff and then give it back forever. So Carlos says that Netflix built their server farms nationwide, which is expensive. Absolutely. And that they originally started with AWS. That makes sense. But I guess they thought it was going to be more cost effective to have their own servers. Not really, apparently. All right. Go ahead.
No, I was just laughing at what you're saying. Not really.
Okay. Fantastic. Oh, she's been crazy busy, but she misses Wednesdays with us, and we miss you too, Serena Lowe. Thank you so much for being here. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Fold MediaScope, all things media, tech, and pop culture, every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook Live, either LinkedIn Live or Twitter and YouTube. And then we do a replay on Gospel 107.1 FM in the Caribbean and the Bahamas, Nassau, Bahamas, and the Caribbean. Yes. Uh-huh. I love how it faded out. Oh boy. All right. Let's keep going. Let's keep talking about what's happening on that end. So could I have I think it's photo 3. Yeah, Queen's Gambit. For those of you who did not know, did you watch Queen's Gambit yet on Netflix, MC?
I did not.
Really good show. So if you are not familiar, Queen's Gambit is a show about a chess prodigy, basically, really good chess player. And it is fictional, but there are some aspects of it that apparently are real. So real, in fact, that somebody sued over their depiction in it or misinformation in Queen's Gambit. So Netflix has agreed to settle a lawsuit that was filed by a Georgian chess master, Georgian meaning adjacent to Russia, and alleged that she was defamed in an episode of the Queen's Gambit. Her name is Nona Gaprindashvili. Gaprindashvili. Forgive me. Nora Gaprindashvili, I think is how she says it. And she argued that her accomplishments were disparaged when a chess announcer in the Netflix series said that she had never had any male opponents, which was false because she actually had 59 male opponents and competitors male competitors by 1968, which is the year that the series takes place. So Netflix tried to say, well, it is we have broad license under the First Amendment to take creative liberties and such and such and such and such. But in January, a federal judge said, well, even if it is a fictional story, if there are real characters in there, you still can't disparage them. You're not immune from a lawsuit if you defame them. So that's what happened there. And so the parties are pleased that the matter has been resolved. It has been settled. I don't know how much it's been settled for. It did not mention, but I'm sure it's
Netflix.
What happened?
Lifetime of Netflix settled.
I guess so. Let's do this, Netflix, though, because you can't afford to keep paying things out to people. You already have enough problems. Use common sense when it comes to things. Look over screen because you can't do this. You can't settle out of it, and you can't just lean on First Amendment and creative license. So from now on, what are we going to do? Read things through and make sure, because you can't do this anymore. You don't have the money. You ain't got the money. Let's keep going to photo 4. Let's talk a little bit about our friend Barack Obama. He has won an Emmy, ladies and gentlemen, for the Netflix nature series that he narrates called Our Great National Parks. Is that what it's called? Yes. Our Great National Parks. So it's a nature documentary that is about protected flora and fauna. And I said this on IG that for some reason I love the words flora and fauna. These are my twins, Flora and Fauna. I don't know. I love those names for some reason. Not that I would name children that, but I think that, I don't know, I just love the words flora and fauna. So they're looking at parks around the globe, which is actually really cool. MC, I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know if any of the rest of you in the chat have seen it, but let me know if you've seen Our Great National Parks on Netflix. So it's a 5-part series. They look at parks on 5 continents: Tsavo National Park in Kenya, Indonesia's Gunung Leuser National Park, and the Chilean Patagonia. So it paid off because he won an Emmy for Outstanding Narrator. So, according to CNN, he is now the second U.S. president to have won an Emmy. Dwight Eisenhower was the first to receive an honorary governor's award by the Television Academy in 1956. So, let's say this: he is the first president
Right.
to actually win it of his merit for something he did. So, it wasn't honorary; he actually won it.
Yeah.
So, good for you. Fantastical. All right, let's keep going because we have like a little bit of time left. Let's go. Could we have the intro to the tech section, please? All right, let me get photo 7, please. Did anybody know that there was an Apple event today? Anybody?
Yeah, I did. I watched it.
What did you think?
I think the the iWatch stole the show, but I was expecting more for the from the iPhone 14, and it was kind of lackluster.
The whole
I thought,
event was kind of lackluster. They're doing too many events.
yeah,
Wait until you have, and I know you're doing it because technology. You're trying. I would be good with a press release. Do a press release. Do a big campaign. Let that be the thing. And then when you have do your events twice a year. Now it seems like you're doing it 4 times a year. DiCarpio says 100%. Too many events. Yes, he did. He won an Emmy. He actually did. So Carlos is talking about the iPhone 14. Is it the 14 Pro high-res camera with large sensor? Yes, you still are not a camera. I think it's great for on-the-go cinema, and they're so good. But you still are not a camera. You still can't just take it without using lenses and think you can shoot a movie, the next movie. I mean, you can.
I think
Go
it's
ahead.
I think it actually be good for using using parts of what you may shoot on your iPhone, maybe as B-roll or something like that, or if you're just trying to obtain a certain look, with some kind of filter or something like that. I don't know, but just
Right. And if you don't mind the differences in look, because there would be slight differences, probably not that an audience would notice, but you would notice and cinema people would notice. So let's talk about what was there. Could I have, I guess that's photo 7A, please. So this is the Apple Watch Series 8, which they talked about today. This is the latest wearable. And so they spent a lot of time on the Apple Watch, and it should be called the iWatch. So I thought that it was primarily going to be about that. But of course, they did have iPods. Yes. No. AirPods. Sorry. AirPods. They the next generation of AirPods, and also the iPhone 14s, plural. So they talked a lot about health and connectivity. I don't know if you noticed that when you were watching it, but the big push and the big thing was health and the fact of being able to use the phone to do things like call 911. People discovering things were wrong because it's taking biometric information, which in and of itself could be problematic from a privacy standpoint, even though they have assured that everything is encrypted. Where
right.
have we heard this before? They've assured this, but I don't know. Let me know. Are you weary of having something like a Apple Watch keep track of things for you? Let me know. All right. So they talked about a new gyroscope and accelerometer in that as well. 18-hour battery life. Retails for $399, call it $400. And with GPS and cellular models run at $499, which is $500. That's more than a phone. Well, more than a cheap phone, not an Apple phone.
Not an Apple phone for sure.
More than a phone I would pay for. Let's say that. So Carlos says it's a camera, not a film camera. Content creation is amazing. Okay, I have to disagree with you. It has a camera. I don't think it is a camera. There are too many other functions going on in a phone for it to function like a camera alone. So by that alone, you're going to have things like, okay, decreased battery life when you're doing that, something that you're not going to have to deal with if you're using a camera. You understand what I mean? So yes, I think it does great work, but to me, it is not a camera. It has a camera. It is a phone that happens to have a camera.
It's a camera phone.
Okay, if you say so. If that's what you want, sir, you like it, I love it. So yes, absolutely. AirPods, iPhone 14, the new Apple Watch, all discussed at, he called it the Apple Convocation. That's exactly what it is. Apple Convocation. I'm stealing that, David Benjamin Eccles. I'm stealing that.
That's good.
That's good. All right, so let's move on. We also have, could I have the next photo, please? You have the Apple Watch SE second generation. It's similar to the iPhone SE, to the mainline phones. A lot of the same internal components. Starts at $249 with GPS and $299 for the cellular model. And you could actually order today. General availability will be next week on the 16th. Then you also, I did not put this in, I think, but the Apple Watch Ultra is available as well. Did I put it in? I don't think I did.
You did.
Okay. I did. Yeah. The Apple Watch Ultra is getting a, the Ultra treatment. So it's basically the high-end Apple Watch. Okay. So they've got again, they've had this collaboration with Hermes for a while. You've got some Hermes faces. If you saw the horse, that is Hermes was started as an equestrian thing. And so you've got the faces with the horse and things like that. I think you still have the leather Hermes band. So this is basically the upscale Apple Watch, which I could see. What do you all think about that? Would you just go ahead and buy a luxury watch, or would you go ahead and buy this Apple Watch, the Ultra? Let me help you. It starts at $799, so call that $800, and it will ship September 23rd, but you can order it today. It's built to be rugged for extreme activities. It's built to an 810 military standard. All right. Well, so you should be able to take it into the Arctic and depths of the ocean, apparently. Let's keep going. Can I have the next one? This should be the AirPods, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. So Apple AirPods Pro 2nd Gen is upon us. I never had the 1st gen. So they look practically the same. The only new physical feature is a lanyard slot on the case. Yay, progress. So, but there's a lot new on the inside. It features the H2 chip with high bandwidth connectivity for exceptional sound quality. Also, this H2 chip powers advanced computation, active noise cancellation for double the noise cancellation. All right. I need you to leave one out of your ears, though, if you are someplace where you need to pay attention. You don't want it all canceled. So, battery life has been extended to 6 hours for that, and another 30 hours in the case. All right. Wow. She went back grocery shopping for the food truck. See, this is why we appreciate you, sis. We appreciate you. All right. Let's see. We have a rainy day special, a nice plate of rice and peas with curry chicken. I could go for that.
Yeah, that does sound good.
Doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. It does.
Jamaican food might be on the plate for dinner tonight, folks. So David Benjamin Eccles says, I will lose those AirPods. It's a no for me. Yeah, no, I don't like the fact of something like this. I feel like they could be lost. Let's look at the price. $249. Almost $300. And they don't cook. Let's go to the phones, please. Could I have the next one? So we've got the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Plus. And the notch is still there, ladies and gentlemen. Notch is still there. So the iPhone mini is gone. It's replaced by the larger iPhone 14 Plus with a 6.1-inch screen, so it's gotten bigger. Of course, the handsets feature the A15 Bionic chip. That's what we're all looking for. Their proprietary chips with a 6-core CPU built with 2 high-performance cores and 4 efficiency cores. Don't know what that means, just know that it's powerful stuff. Anyway, so similar to the Apple Watch models, the iPhone 14 features crash detection, and you'll be able, meaning if you crash, not if it crashes, but if you crash in your car, it can detect and will be able to send out an emergency SOS via satellite, which is actually very helpful. The 14 starts at $799, call that $800. The iPhone 14 Plus starts at $899, and they arrive on the 16th next week. So you can order them today if you like. But for the 14, but the 14 Plus won't be available till October 7th, folks.
Hey,
Also, yeah, go ahead.
do you know what was the minimum on the storage space on the phone? I don't remember hearing that.
Ooh, minimum storage. I don't remember.
Okay.
And it is not saying here what the minimum storage is. So, yeah, it's not saying here. But in terms of the camera, it's a new 12 MP main camera. Carlos already talked about this. 1.9 micron pixels, a wider aperture lens, plus optical image stabilization. So it also is supposed to be really good in low light, a 49% improvement. They've got a new system in there. Terry Johnson says this. I'm still not getting one, but I think it's cool. Use Find My to find them. What are we finding? Yes, there is an iPhone 14 Plus, definitely. And there is an iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, which is actually what you're seeing here. It's got a smaller notch that has been rumored to come forever. How about get rid of the notch? The notch is annoying. They're calling it a dynamic island. Really? So instead of calling it a notch, there's a dynamic island. I guess you can do anything when you have money.
It's where everything happens.
So the iPhone Pro is finally stepping things up. They've had a 12 MP camera on them for a while, but now they have a 48 MP megapixel camera with 24 millimeter focal length. Wow.
Yeah, that's good.
That's very good.
Well,
Starts at somebody was asking. Starts at $999. The iPhone 14 Pro starts at $999, which means that's basic. And the 14 Pro Max starts at $1,099. Call it $1,100.
What about the Plus? Did you mention the cost of that?
So there's the Pro and the Pro Max, and then there's the 14 and the 14 Plus. The 14 Plus, yes, is $899.
Okay, gotcha.
So no big jump in prices, if you ask me, for the base model. But the more you kit it up, I'm sure the more expensive it gets. Okay, so she said this. You can find all your Apple devices with Find My Device on phone or the web. Yes, absolutely, you can. That's very helpful. Absolutely. Serena Wills says she's lost when it comes to Apple. Yeah, I'm Android phone wise, but all my other stuff is Apple. So, all right. So that's what this event, which didn't need to happen. If you ask me again, wait till you actually have something to announce. Go ahead.
No, I was just repeating what Benjamin Eccles said. Convocation.
Yes, exactly. So that was the Apple convocation. I don't feel any wiser because of it, to be honest. But I do understand it's a company, and you've got things to announce. Like I said, I would have gone for a very in-depth press release. Do a little release video. You don't have to do this huge event because they've made it an event. Do a little video. You know what? Let's one more story. Could I have the final story, please? And then I'm going to let everybody go. Thank you for hanging on. And apologies for starting late. As you can hear from the echo, we had tech difficulties. Could I have the final, actually, the intro to the pop culture section, and then the final photo? All right. Thank you for having this. Ladies and gentlemen, today, on what the hell is this? This is called the muzzle. And it's a microphone that blocks eavesdroppers from hearing what you say, whether you're screaming or whatever. So maybe you're worried because you live in a big apartment complex that people are listening to you order your Chinese food. Maybe you've got trade secrets that you want nobody else to hear that, by the way, you probably shouldn't be saying inside a place full of people anyway. Well, there's a Japanese company called Shiftfall that is banking that people don't mind wearing this. You see what's around the mouth? That's what you have to do.
Yeah, maybe you got bedroom secrets.
Maybe you speak to yourself, MC.
I need to hold on. I need to cleanse myself.
I was about to say you need some gospel. You need some old time religion because that was terrible.
Well, hey, I mean, it looks awful.
It looks just, and I'm sure it's not comfortable. So they're banking on people wanting to wear this. So it's designed to fit snugly against your mouth and chin, and it comes with adjustable straps, as if that's going to help. That could be attached to a pair of matching AR goggles, as you can see, or glasses. And it can, when you first put it on your mouth, apparently it can automatically detect that it's being used. And when it's on a flat surface, it will initiate a mute function so you don't get unwanted audio recorded. So there's a tiny cavity inside there that uses air to expand and compress the sound, according to Taxi, and it's known as the Helmholtz principle, for those of you that are science people. So it prevents noise from leaking out of it's called the mutalk, and it leaves you free, as they say, to scream into the void. But why would you want to scream? Apparently, it reduces sounds by up to 30 decibels. It comes with a USB-C port for charging and a 3.5 millimeter jack to be connected to headphones. It works with Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android. Raise your hand if you're in the market for this. Let me say something. Because it can be made, does it mean that it needs to be made? If you are talking about super sensitive thing, now maybe you do live in an apartment building. I know sometimes these walls are thin, but then you need to lower your voice. You should not be having a shouting match talking about trade secrets. Go ahead.
That just looks ridiculous. I'm sorry.
In the words of Terry Johnson, who asked for this? No one. He's ordering 4 now. Have at it. You can have mine. You can have mine. Yikes, says Dr. Twana. Yikes indeed. Oh, look who's here. Jay, I didn't even see you. Welcome, my friend. And he says, save the money and do a video for the Apple event. Absolutely. Because that's another thing nobody asked for. They just keep getting, I was bored until they started talking about the iPhone. I was like, if they're only going to talk about this, I think I'm going to tune out. I perked back up when they talked about the iPhone, but come on. Terry said what David thought. I think we were all thinking about this. I think let's make a pact. No new pieces of nonsense for at least 12 months. Can we do that?
So I have a question. Is that
Oh,
in their mouth or over their mouth?
they said over. Because if you
Over.
look at
Okay.
the one with the goggles, it looks like it's over, right?
Yeah.
But the rest of them look like it's inside their mouth.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, how do you how do you have a conversation that's encrypted or void of or void of the conversation being heard by someone when you've got that thing in your
Well,
mouth?
Holtzman principle or whatever they said it is. Look,
Oh.
to me, you would sound like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. That's what it sounds like.
Right.
David says some folks can't speak low in public. They invite the entire world on buses. Oh no, we know these people who have to let everyone know about your conversation. So that could be a use case. But typically people who are loud don't know and don't think that they're loud. They think they're just within the decibel range of reasonable. And that's not true.
Use your inside voice.
Oh, they don't know inside voice. And these are the same one I told you. I remember very well being in the Atlanta airport, and this was at the time when the Razor, the flip phone, was the big thing.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and so they had to show that they had a Razor. They're like, yeah, so I think what we'll do is pass that. I mean, they were loud. I was like, and I just looked like this. I think if we have the call on Monday, that's exactly.
Goodness gracious.
I mean, it was over the top.
Wow.
Hi, Bob. Yeah, Stan. Yeah, I am on my Razor. We don't have to know your conversation. We don't need to know, but you make it the business to show that you're on the Razor and that you have some kind of business going on. The loud flip phone conversation.
Yeah,
Maybe you
that's
just had a bad Razor. Anyway, here we go. To me, that's absolute rubbish. I don't know why anybody needs this, but just more useless junk in the world of tech. Have at it, folks, if you wish. That's it. I'm done. Thank you guys so much for hanging in there with us. It was absolutely amazing. MC, do you have any final thoughts for us?
Great show.
Thank you, and thank you. Love you for watching. Bid you adieu. You guys, myself, loud flip phones, and this mute talk. Let's all exit stage left. Until next week, cheers.
Yeah, Close the doors, walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our repertoire.